Okay, so we talk about our chapters, right? And let me briefly introduce you what is project management, what we expect from it. So, şimdi this our book is covered basically these four things, okay? Definition of a project, definition of project management, relationship to other management disciplines within project management, and project phases and project life cycle. This is what we talk about today. Actually, a project is something like that in our understanding. If you ever been a part of a project, I mean, generally, when the work begins, when there's a deadline in 1 year, 2 years, no one take it seriously, right? The projects. This is I call it Turkish style of project management. You just mess around in the first times, and you don't know one want to do anything. But when the deadline is the deadline is close, there's a panic between people, and all the work is done at the end of the project. So this is actually a thing that we don't like. Okay, this is general style of our project understanding. From your think about your homework, think about your assignments. I mean, most of you have, I believe that, have done it in the last days or last weeks, right? For example, we assign you some homeworks, we assign you some projects, but you don't. Maybe you have 1 month, 3 months, a good amount of time, but no one starts at, or very few people start at the beginning of time. No one plan it accurately, and they just leave it at the last time. So this is the something that we want to overcome in this course. Okay, this is not what we want. I mean, this is it's a bad management of project. I mean, so this is so what's a project then, right? What do we mean by a project? We actually said that it is limited by time, limited by also budget, right? And resources as well. I mean, for example, if a project had a budget of 1 million Turkish liras, I mean, you need to use that budget, okay, to realize that the project objectives, right? So you need to plan, you need to be ready for that, I mean, whether you can do it or not. Projects are complex and one-time processes. Generally, you do that project one time and then you move on other projects, right? And they have some clear goals or set of goals, which is very important. I mean, if you are managing a project, you need to know what you need to do, right? What's your mission about that project? What do you want to do? And generally, projects are customer focused. What do we mean by that? I mean, generally, you take the projects from a customer, for example. They want a instruction project. Let's say you are building a construction building, an apartment, for example, or something else. So you create a project, right? You say that, okay, I will build that building in 2 years. Okay, my budget is that. My required time is that. So you provide that proposal to the company who wants your assistance, who wants your to make you do that work for them. So you focus on that customers. Or think about that you are giving an advisory consultancy to a company, right? Again, most of the advisory consultancy things are done through projects. I mean, for example, they say that, okay, I am company X, I need a strategic plan. Okay? You have a good team, write me a strategic plan. So you provide them a project, you provide them a proposal that, okay, I will handle this job in 6 months, let's say. I want to do that. In the first month, I will do these actions. In the second month, I will do these activities. In the third month, I will do these, blah, blah, blah. So you provide them a specific time limited, and you provide the budget as well. I will do that job for 100,000 Turkish liras, let's say. This is my budget. So I will work with these people who are experienced in that subjects, for example, right? So the main difference between the project management and regular management, the project management is temporary one, and it's not continuous, right? There's a time limit, budget limit, and resource limit. Okay. Good aspects, bad aspects. I mean, what are these? What can we talk about that? So you create a new thing. I mean, being in projects actually gives you an excitement because you are doing new things, right? I mean, think you as a worker. I mean, like you do the same thing every day. I mean, it's boring, right? Sometimes you want some new things. You want some more different things you want to do, right? You want to use your skills, your abilities, but a routine job generally makes people unhappy, right? So it gives you a creative things, it gives you innovation, and it gives you the ability to work in teams, right? So you need to work closely to others. I mean, people who like to work in teams actually like being in projects, but some people want to work individually. They don't like being in teams. And the customer satisfaction, you actually provide that service specific to that customer. For example, I mean, you are producing regular products and selling in the mass market, right? I mean, if anyone likes it, go and buy it from the market, from the supermarkets, anywhere. However, in projects, you specifically write that project for a specific customer, right? So this is why you have a flexibility to arrange the goals. For example, arrange the features of the product or features of the service, arrange the time of the service, everything. So you work for the satisfaction of the customer. It's more. The bad aspects, too much details to deal with. You will see that in our course. There are so many details about managing a project. It is too complex. It is too uncertain, and risk of failure is very high. Because, as you know, have you ever been in a project? Let me ask you. I'm just talking for more than 15 minutes, but only me. Just wanted to ask you, anyone be a part of a project member, a project manager before?
Hocam, sorry.
Okay, you can.
Oh, okay. Shall I, Hocam?
Yes, please.
I am currently working in a project firm. We are doing projects for medical doctors and their congresses and events. And we are working in a project teams differently. So every team have different medical group, and we are working together as a team.
So how do you like it being in projects? Is the good thing a complex thing or a better way to work? What do you think?
It's actually better, I guess, to make things in teamwork, because we are different. We are taking care of different things. Okay. So one of us is taking care of the stakeholders and the sponsorship. One of us taking care of the doctors and their communication, and some of them is operations and the to venue the place or something else. So it's divides the workload, I guess. Very good. I mean, it's good that you have that such experience, so that this course will make more sense for you. Yes, exactly. That is stuff. Yes. Mohammed, do you want to share?
Yeah. Yes, I want to share my experience. Maybe 6 years ago, it was I worked on a project with an international organization in Syria. It was to support just like a charity for a duration of time. It was for 6 months. We supported children, those who lost their schools and lost their parents, and it was we had a limited time to finish something there, like schools, and praying and support them with the teachers, to find teachers, something like that. If I got the right idea, maybe this is what we are talking about.
Yes, definitely. I mean, projects could be also done by NGOs, right? Or done for social purposes. Actually, these are more common. For example, I also participate in many European Union projects, and these are not for profit-oriented projects. They are, for example, we have a project now for refugees And we have completed one for refugees, teachers who have refugee students in their classes. So these are actually important aspects of project management as well, right? You want to make a contribution to the social life, society, right? But you want to do it in a proper way, and you want to use the resources, especially the governments, United Nations, European Union. They have some budgets to support people, right? Support the disadvantaged people, support the refugees, or support the, let's say, some minorities, some people who have, for example, disabilities, right? So these kind of social aspects also exist in projects. Yes, and many projects, there are so many project opportunities for that as well. Yes, thank you, Mohammed. I mean, your experience will be a good thing, a good contribution for our class as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
By the way, please don't hesitate to share your thoughts while I talking about this project management thing. I mean, it will be very beneficial for me as well to hear your voices on the theoretic academic issues here. Okay.
Of course, sir. I'm going to share every single details or information that I have.
Yes, yes, of course. Everyone. I mean, everyone in the class have the permission to share anything. Okay. So let's before moving on, I would like to offer you something, guys, all of you. Since we are a small group, small class, we can try something new in that class if you want to. As a project for this course, we can prepare, you can prepare each one, or in teams or in individual, can prepare some project submission to European Union, for example, Erasmus Plus calls, or to COSGAP, for example, for a new idea or a new project, or TÜBİTAK, or any other institution, Ankara Kalkınma Ajansı, for example, or in Kızılay, for example. I mean, there are many project calls. What are these project calls? These are generally done by institutions, okay, like European Union, like TÜBİTAK, like development agencies. In Turkish, we call them Kalkınma Ajansları. So they provide some call. Okay, for example, they say that, let's say European Union, Erasmus Plus, they say that, okay, we are calling for, we have a call for projects on people with disabilities, okay, and their employment, let's say, okay. So these calls, actually, they direct you when you want to apply such a call. You create a team, okay? You create a team of organizations, like, for example, our university, other Turkish institutions, and some European institutions. I mean, you make the contacts with them. You ask them whether they want to be partner. And you write 20, 30, or sometimes 50 pages application forms, okay? You just write your project idea, if you have an idea, if you want to do that. If you want to solve this kind of, be part of this kind of project calls, and which are very fruitful. I mean, if both if you buy money, I mean, you can earn some money out of that project, because if they accept that project, I mean, they provide you some kind of money, some salary because of your efforts. So do you want to try something like that? I mean, of course, I will assist you on that. In teams or in individual, do you want to write project proposals for European Union projects, or TÜBİTAK, or other institutions, other things? What do you say? Or you just want to take the course and we don't want to try it? I mean, it's not our vision, our mission, you say. What do you say?
I think we can do something like that, sir, but not in individual. I think for group is better for me, I think.
Okay, by teams, you say. By the way, you can think about your the companies you work, okay? If you are working in companies, I mean, you can create some projects for them as well, okay? This is also possible. I mean, for example, an R&D project could be also. on the table. I mean, we can write to COSGAP as well. As you know, maybe I am working in RECMER in our faculty, in our university. There's a project management institute, kind of something like that. Rekabet Araştırmaları Merkezi. So we do these kind of projects a lot. So within that course, I mean, I can assist you. I can show you how to design such a project proposal if you want. Others, your ideas?
According to me, I agree with her there. I don't mind to write anything project or to work as a group with anyone or individual as well. This is depend upon my friends here. They would like to work together, but in generally, that makes me happy to work on something like project or assessment.
Okay, good, good. Others, Narin, what do you think?
Actually, I think it's okay, but I agree with Hicret, also Muhammad. We need a team, not an individual.
Okay,
It's
okay.
actually hard for me, and it's needed more time. And it's okay.
Okay. Meyra and Ece, your voices.
Hocam, as I said before, it's okay for me to work as a team, not an individual.
Okay, I mean, it's not actually the real question, not by team or individual. Do you want to write something like that? I mean, do you want to write a proposal, project proposal, in one of these calls? I mean, we will select it, but I think it will be good. It will be good for you as well. I mean, who knows? Maybe they will accept our proposal, right? So, okay then, let me think and let me share you with some websites, okay, that you can look at there and that you can find some calls. And if you like, you can work in teams, 2 or 3, and you know, if you want to work individuals. And we will talk about this, okay, later. I mean, this week I will share you with some web pages. There are calls in there. I mean, you look at them and you let me know, okay, if you want to write something like that.
Hocam,
Yes,
by the way, some global firms give the funds for project, for example, Coca-Cola and P&G in Turkey or European office.
This could be very good, Sumera. If you
can apply.
If you know particular ones that are open now, I mean, we can work for them as well.
Okay.
Okay.
I will search for it.
Yes, please search for. I mean, each of you, please search for that as well. Open calls from companies, not necessarily to the European Union or to TÜBİTAK or Kalkınma Ajansı. If there exist, I mean, that will be better. I mean, we just write something and we will try our chance. Okay.
Because I did with Coca-Cola Global, with Atlanta office, and they give us our Turkish requestant $1.5 million. It's a huge amount, I guess, for COVID-19 appeal. Maybe we can do this, like this project.
Yes, Mera, that could be. I mean, there are thousands of calls in the internet. I mean, as you say, some big companies, sometimes assemblies, for example, assembly of Japan, assembly of, let's say, Germany. I mean, they're also calling some projects as well. For example, they say that, okay, we are calling for projects which deals with the refugee problem, which deals with the Turkish and Japan trades, like this kind of, I mean, billions of project ideas there are. Okay, I will share it with you, some project ideas. Okay, and we will see if we can handle it, if we can do it. Okay. Also, you look at them as well. I mean, not limited to me. Also, you look at, as Hümeyra said, maybe there are some opportunities. Okay. Let's see. Let's continue. Yeah. So projects have some life cycles. What's the life cycle? I mean, you remember, I guess, a life cycle. There's a beginning phase, a growth phase, the maturity phase, and then decline phase for a project. So there's a time limited thing. And there are some building blocks in projects. What does that mean? I mean, in projects, you work like work packages, okay? Let's say there are 10 work packages. So by the time, in the first, you finish work package 1, for example, and then you finish work package 2, and then 3, and then 4. So you need to design your time as well to these work packages, okay? You need to develop some strategies of execution, like building blocks. You put them together and you created the final product, final project. And projects are responsible for the newest and most improved products, services, and organizational processes. Yes, this is generally done it could be within the company. Okay, these projects could be developed. Not always you do it for a customer. For example, you are Samsung, okay, or iPhone. You want the new products, right? You need new product development. So each of your new product development efforts is done through projects. So you say that, okay, I want a new smartphone. So bring me some projects, okay? So they do the design, make the planning, try the product, and bring it to you. So this is actually many R&D projects, research and development projects are done within the companies, right? They develop it. They provide a philosophy of change, management of change. Because of that, I mean, the companies who deal with these projects more, they create more innovative products, right? And you need to work in cross-functional way in organizations. What do you mean by that? For example, Mohammed said that he's working in an accounting company. You are doing the accounting work. Think of you in a big company. You are working in the accounting department. For example, another friend is working in the marketing department. Other friend is working in the sales department, R&D department, and they're normally in their regular business life, they work within their departments. They don't work collectively with other departments. But when there's a project, generally teams are constructed, teams are built up with the contribution of people from different departments. They are coming together. This is what we call cross-functional, okay? Not only R&D department, for example, deal with innovation in companies. When there's a project, they introduce one accounting specialist to help them with the budget side. It's an important issue. I mean, how do you deal with the costs? How do you deal with the budget? Or they invite some marketing specialists to ask them their ideas about the design, right? Or ask them their ideas about how do they add some features to attract the customer's attention more. This is what we call actually cross-functioning. So traditional management functions all apply to project management. We talk about this. Planning, organizing, motivation, directing, control. This actually exists in all management, right? We talk about this strategic management course as well, as you remember, your friends, expert Mohammed, right? So we are making plan, right? And then implement the strategy and then control the strategy, right? You remember that process. So it's actually also organized. It's actually exists for projects as well. You also plan, you also organize, you also motivate the team, direct them, and then control, implement it, and then control the project's outcomes. Then principal outcomes of a project are the satisfaction of customer requirements. Yes, we talk about this. You focus on the customer requirement, customer satisfaction, and also projects are terminated, ended, have complete their lives according to their performances. When you reach the performance objectives, this is done. The project is closed. And you have a goal. You reach that goal. Okay, the project is dead. So Moran said that project management is a problem, which is solution is programmed, right? So what do we mean? What does he mean by that? He means that first you need to define the problem, right? In project management, this is very important. You need to define the problem. You need to know what the problem is. Maybe you also remember in our strategic management, our internal and external analysis, right? Environmental analysis. How do we call that? Internal and external environmental analysis in strategic management, guys?
SWOT analysis.
SWOT analysis. Thank you, Nari. So why did we do that? What is the main idea behind that, Nari?
We want to competitive advantage.
Yes, and we want to see our current situation, right? So whether there's a problem, whether there's a weak aspect of us, right? Whether there's a threat in the external environment. So similarly in projects, we want to define some problem to be solved, and then create a plan to solve that problem, okay? And then apply it. This is what Moran want to, I think, say. This is the project cycle. So you plan the project, right? You produce or execute the project, you monitor and control the project, and you close it. First initiation, I forgot it. First initiate the project, with the idea phase, and I want to do the project and then plan. So this is the cycle of projects. Yes, this is about PMI. PMI is a project management institute. Okay, there is an international association on project management. They are actually giving project management education training to the sector industry people who want to learn that. I suggest you if you want to.
Yes, Hocam, I want, but it's a little bit expensive for me.
Yes, very expensive, right? Very expensive PMI certification, unfortunately. But actually, this PMI talks about this project management in very much detail. And they have a book, PMI book, and there are very technical issues in projects. And not all projects are soft projects, right? Sometimes, for example, you have a project of construction of a building. So there are many, how can I say, engineering details of that project as well. Or some energy project, right? Energy investment project, big projects. They have many details and they have some certifications, and they provide very benefits to the companies, to professionals. This slide is saying that. PMI. You can check it if you want. Okay, let me see. Okay. So what is the difference between the process and project management then? We talk about this. So process is repeating an existing process or product, right? Several objectives, ongoing. People are homogeneous, well-established systems, greater certainty. This is the regular management, I think, right? The regular management, the process management. You have an ongoing job, you have an ongoing production assembly line, and you are doing that job. This is a process management. But projects, there's new innovation, right? Something new. There is one objective. There could be, of course, sub-objectives of the project, but the main objective is a specific one, a specific customer need or company need. Limited lifetime, more heterogeneous, greater uncertainty. So the violates the established practice is something new. So if there is something new, if there is something unfamiliar, it also can create some problems. Okay, think it like that. Projects, there are so many uncertainties, there are risks, so that there are many projects failing, right? For example, software and hardware projects fail at a rate of 65%. So over half of the IT projects become runaways. Only 30% of technology-based projects and programs are a success. So in United States, 10 major government contracts have over $16 billion, cost overruns. Okay, and combine the 38 years behind schedule. What do you mean by that? I mean, in the beginning of the project, they say that to the government, okay, we want that amount of money, but at the end of the project, they see that they need much more money. Or at the beginning of the project, they say that we will finish it in 1 year, but when the 1 year ended, they need more, maybe 1 more year for that project. So what does that picture tells us? So project management is a risky thing, and nothing goes as it's written in the paper. Okay, there are always problems. You are late, you need more money, some of your partners may run away from the project, or you may just simply fail to realize that. This is the risks of the project. So this is why project management education is important. I mean, everyone can be a part of projects, and when you talk to people, especially in Turkey, they all say that, okay, we do it. I mean, we can do it. We can handle it. Hallederiz abi, biz yaparız. Hallederiz, right? No one says that in the beginning of project, okay, this is a big thing. I mean, my abilities is limited, my skills are limited. I need some assistance. No one says that. Any company, any people, anyone say that, okay, I'll handle it. They just see the money at the end of the project. Okay, I do it. It's easy. I can just handle it. But when they go into that project, they see that it's not that easy. And maybe so planning is important. Deciding the money that you want is important. Establishing your team is important, and having a vision, setting up the good goals, having the necessary resources, all are very important. And these course actually want to help you to how to deal with that stuff. Yes, there are other statistics about the failure of the projects. Okay. So why our projects are becoming more important lately? First of all, the product life cycles are becoming shorter and shorter. What do we mean by a product life cycle? Can anyone help me on that from my previous lecture students? No one? I can still change your grades, guys, in strategic management course. What is product life cycle?
As I remember, it's a firm's life. I think introduction, growth, and maturity, and that or decline. I think the last step.
Yes, you do. This is the product life cycle. For products, I mean, what does that mean? Shortened product life cycle. So companies produce some products, right? They produce some end goods that we go and buy, but they are becoming old very quickly. For example, you buy some smartphones. I mean, actually, you see it in very clearly in the smartphone industry, right? You buy the last generation, the emerald ones, the Samsung iPhone, but 1 year later, there's a new one. The 2 years later, there's a better one. 3 years later, your phone is a old-fashioned, low-quality one, right? So this is actually means that shortened product life cycle. I mean, maybe in the, for example, 20 years ago, when people buy some phones in their homes, like regular phones, I mean, they just buy one phone and they use it in the rest of their lives, right? But for smartphones, I mean, in every 3 years to 5 years, you need to change them. You need to buy a new one. So this requires firms to develop new projects, develop new products, right? Each of them means projects, developing new projects. Okay, this is why projects is more important. Narrow product launch windows. Launching a product means that introducing that product to the market, it is a very risky thing for the firms. For example, they made the change in their products. They launch a new car in the, for example, traffic. Let's say Renault launch a new car in the project. I mean, it's very risky, right? Whether people like it, whether people like the design, the engine, the comfort, and they normally invest billions of dollars for developing a new car. design, matter, engine, everything. So this is why projects are important, right? Good project management is important. Increasing the complex and technical products. So a complex product could not be produced by small teams or small people or one company. Sometimes more than one company come together to create a new product or create a new service. For example, maybe you're familiar with that. We build up new bridges to the Bosphorus, right? Istanbul Bosphorus, the third bridge. So this bridge is a project, actually a huge project. And that project is supported by the Turkish government, Turkish banks, Turkish instruction firms, and then international instruction firms, as I remember right, Chinese firms, right? They create the joint venture, come together, more than maybe 10 firms, and they can realize that project. Emergence of global markets and economic period marked by low inflation. Low inflation is not our issue. We always have high inflation, but just for you to remember, low inflation means in United States, since there's low inflation, people, wanted to invest their money to new projects. I mean, there are some economic explanation of it, but I'm not a economics master. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. When there's a low inflation, people behave to invest more. I mean, this is the main summary idea here. So when they want to invest more, there are more projects needed, something like that. Yes, this is the project life cycle. The conceptualization here, like similar to the product life cycle, conceptualization, I mean the initiation phase, conceptualize the idea, what can I do? So we will do this week this conceptualization, okay? Each of you are required to look for these codes, these project codes, and find something that you can, this is a good fit for me, I can write something to you there. And at the planning phase, then after you plan, you execute the project, and then after that, you terminate the project when it ends. This is the project life cycle. Yes, we talk about this. There could be change during the project life cycle. It's inevitable. You face change. You start somewhere, you end up somewhere else. And this is very, very, very common in projects. Why? Because clients may have other interests. They say, okay, change this part, make a change in that project thing. Project state, resources, creativity, uncertainty. These are all actually have an impact on the project. Yes, this is the intensity level, right? Project lifecycle and their effects. Client interests. For example, client interest, it is said to be, is very high at the beginning of the project. It becomes low with the execution, and then termination phase, it's at the top. Why? Because they are delivered with the final product, whether they are happy or not. So resources are here. You use the most resources in the execution phase, and then it becomes less and less. Creativity here, you start with a much creativity and bring it more in the execution phase. Uncertainty is becoming less and less while you reach the end of the project. This is some sort of representation of it. Quadruple constraint of project success. We academicians like these kind of fancy titles, but what does that say, and what does that figure say to us? Right? It says that the success of a project depends on these four things. What are these? First, budget. I mean, you can be successful, you can be a good project manager, you can create the best product, best service, but until you are limited in the budget, I mean, within the limits of the budget. What do I mean? I am the client. I come to you. I ask you to produce that product for me. Okay, just produce that for me. Okay, and I tell you, you have a budget of, let's say, $10,000, and you started designing that project. You are very successful, okay? But you end up spending $20,000. I mean, even if your product is very good, you exceed the limits of the budget. I mean, it's a failure for you. Maybe you cannot continue the project because there is no budget, right? Client acceptance, whether the customer liked the project or not. I mean, maybe you write the best report, maybe you write the very quality, high quality report, or produce something product very fancy, very good, but the client doesn't like it. I mean, it's a failure. Performance of the product. I mean, of course, this performance are required to meet the initial objectives, initial goals, and time, right? I mean, you have a limited time to finish a project. If you can't finish a project, I mean, it's meaningless. Think about this vaccine. Vaccine works aşırı çalışmaları in Turkey, right? I mean, we need the vaccines right now, right? Within this year. I mean, if they finish their products, if they finish their vaccines within 5 years, I mean, whether they are so successful, this vaccine is 100% efficient against coronavirus, because of the time, because of the being late, I mean, it doesn't make any sense, okay? This is the four success factors of project success, guys. Yeah. 4 dimensions of project success continues like that, different representations again. It says in the first project completion and by time. So after you finish your project, right, how it's efficient to the customers, what is the impact on the customer, the impact on the business success in the large sense, and preparing for the future. If the value-added project brings you additional new projects, right? For example, you close a project which you are very successful, and other customers sees that, okay, I want to work with you again with that job. I mean, it's a very common thing. If you have the experience on that kind of similar projects, you are lucky, it says. And also you need to turn the project success into business success. What do you mean by that? So a business is a continuous operation. Your business is continuing, and you are doing many projects, right? As a team, let's say. So you need to somehow ensure that your projects contribute to overall goal of your business, overall goal success of your business. Yes. What else? Okay, let's stop here for this week. I think for an introduction it's enough. We will continue next week. But before finishing it, I'd like to tell you that sorry. Can you see that website?
Yes, hocam.
This is the website of Turkish National Agency. Okay, you can see here the opportunities, fırsatlar. Please look at that for project opportunities as well. Okay, I mean, there are, you see that partnerships, right? Here, Erasmus Plus programs. Okay, I mean, just take a look at that website, Turkish National Agency. Okay, and the opportunities part, especially. I mean, you can here find some projects that you can apply, that you can see. In the European Union, projects are controlled by national agencies. Turkish National Agency actually controls all European Union projects in Turkey. We are applying to Turkish National Agency. You can first look at that project. Okay. One more. I will, by the way, also send you this as well. Also TÜBİTAK, right? TÜBİTAK also provides some calls, funds, as you see here, right? So business industry, academic funds, business funds, public institutions, entrepreneurship, this kind of, it's more scientific thing. TÜBİTAK could be more hard for you. Maybe it's for more academicians more, but just take a look at that. Maybe you have some issue, you have some interest in that. And then Ankara Kalkınma Ajansı. Let's look at their calls. Support. You see here there's a support, right? Agency support. I think here there's projects. There's the call for proposals. So just make a look at, take a look at these websites, okay? These 3 websites. I mean, you can find some project ideas. Erasmus Plus projeleri. Erasmus Plus'a da bakabilirsiniz arkadaşlar. Onu da söyleyeyim. Burada mesela yazdığınız zaman direkt çıkıyor, gördünüz mü? Erasmus Plus projeleri. Bunların hepsi ne bir okuyun, şöyle bir bakın. Sonra da konuşalım inşallah. Var mı bir sorunuz arkadaşlar?